Hey everyone, I am going to show you in this video an introduction to Drive on G Suite. So if you would like to start out by going to your Gmail, and you can do this by going to mail.google.com, or if you are at a new tab, you can go to the top right and go to Gmail, or this app launcher up here and select Gmail, or go to Drive. And once you're here, you can view your My Drive, which is where all your files are going to be kept. You can create folders, files, collaborate with your team, and view detailed information about documents that have been created. So here you have your quick access, things that you've worked on recently or have been shared with recently. You have your team drive, which is a collaborative experience. Everyone is able to post here, and it's basically owned by your entire team. If someone were to leave the company or someone were to transfer file ownership, everything would be retained here, and you could work on your projects, manage from here. Shared with me is the section where you can have colleagues share documents with you, and you would see them pop up here. Here I've had Adam share a couple things with me earlier this week, earlier today. Nick has shared things with me earlier this month, and I can see things that have been shared with me previously. Recent is a list of documents that I have viewed recently, so I can jump right back into my workflow. Starred, that's for important things that I would like to come back to without having to search through files or folders. Just easier to jump right back into what matters. Trash is where I would go if I had deleted something I did not want to delete, or recover, check my discarded files and folders. And down here I'll show my total storage, which right now I'm using 1.5 gigabytes. And just so you know, any kind of files created through Google, your basic files like Google Docs, Google Sheets, those do not take up any space on your Google Drive. Just other folders and files such as PNG files or Excel documents and Word documents, those would take up space. So let's go back to my drive, and we're going to explore this new button up here. New is a very powerful button to create documents and folders, upload files, upload folders, and much more. Pretty much anything that is file creation or editing of documents, you can post here. Here are a lot of different apps I can have, and I can connect more if I would like. There's also jump straight into creating docs, sheets, and slides like slideshow and Excel and Word. You can also choose to start from a blank document or a template. If I choose a template, I can see here that it'll give me general workflows, and I can use these to base my document off of, so I don't have to start from scratch. Or if you already have a template created through your company, you can choose that custom template and submit new ones here. You can also create a new folder. We're going to name this folder Cimtech. So I've created it, and I can now see my Cimtech folder here. Right here I have my details enabled, and if I didn't have that enabled, I could, by highlighting whatever it is I want details on and selecting this View Details icon at the top right. Once I do that, I can see the name. I can hover over who is the owner. It says I'm the owner because I just created that. My location, when I created it, when I last modified it. I can even add a description. I can also look at activity. Right now I've just created it, so there's not a lot of activity. But if I went to a folder where it had been worked in more extensively, I can see here that I've made changes on this date, see who the owner is, when files were moved around, really a whole slew of useful information so I can keep track of activity and who has been working on what. Now, going back to this Cimtech folder, you can click inside of it. See here we don't have any files. I can drag and drop files from my desktop into here and they would upload automatically, or I could click this file upload, and once I do that I can select a file to upload here and it will be deposited. Right now I'm just going to click a new Google Doc. I can see it is opening a new untitled document where I will then be given the ability to edit and do all of my word processing. So I'm going to type a sentence here. So I can type out whatever I'd like. Notice at the top here, once I type that out, it automatically saved and has now said all changes saved in Drive. If I were to type some more or make any sort of change, it would automatically save and be reflected here. Say I didn't want a certain save being there, I could do an undo, or I could go back in if it's been too long and check my edits. So from here, I can see version history. And since I've only been working on it today, it only shows me working on it right now. But if there had been multiple editors, or if I had edited over multiple days, I could come in here and check what version I would like. And if I liked a previous date version, I could go to that earlier date and actually click restore this version. And once I do that, it would actually revert back to the old version. And that's useful if someone has edited a document that did not need to be edited. They can have their changes reversed and have your document done the way you would like. So I'm just gonna end that with test, and then it's saved, so I can just exit out and my document is reflected here, and I can see the details of it over here, and I can even view the document in a list form, so it shows it like this. And so if I were to go back to my drive and look at it in this view list form, everything would be on a line-by-line basis, kind of like how your computer file window is when you look at your documents from your computer. And let's just change that back. Okay, so from here, I am going to want to highlight, and I'll show you what you can do with a document. So from here, you have the options to remove. You can put that in the trash, and it'll keep it in the trash for a while and then permanently delete your document. You can always restore from the trash if you have mistakenly removed a document. And if you have permanently deleted from the trash, there are still ways you can recover those files, but the recovery does become a little bit harder. So we want to try to make sure if you are removing a file and you don't intend on permanently removing it, that you review your trash files before emptying that trash bin. So here we have a preview marked with an eyeball, and you can preview the document without actually opening it in a new tab. And this is useful if you would like to see exactly what it is, or you want to do a quick print, or you could even download the document. You could also do a right click on the document and you have some interactive options here. Same preview, open with, share, which we'll get to here in a second. You can move it to a new folder. You can star it. I'm just going to go ahead and star, so that's an important document for me. If I looked and star it, I would be able to see it. Go back into that folder. And there are a couple other options: rename, make copy, download, remove. So right-clicking also gives you a bunch of options that you are able to play with documents and folders. The next icon here is share. So if I would like to share this with someone else in my domain or outside of my domain, I can go here, and this is just a quick edit and share. So let's say I wanted to share this with Adam. I would start typing his name, and it would autofill to Adam's in my contacts. So I'm going to go ahead and select Adam, and I can see this is his email account. I can add a quick note, and when I do this, it'll actually email him a alert that I've shared this document with him, and whatever I add in the note, it will include in the email. So I can say, I've shared this with you to be reviewed. Please advise. So if I were to send this out, say shared with one person, and then next to the document, I would get a icon right here that says shared. Now, if I were to look at the information under details, I can see that I'm the owner still. It's still listing me as the owner. And I can also see Adam Bledsoe is a contributor. So this tells me it's shared with one other person, and he is contributor level. Now, I can go in and edit this by going and highlighting the document or folder and clicking share again. So it says it's shared with Adam Bledsoe. If I go to advanced here, I can look at a couple more things. So here is a link. If I use this link, right now it's only accessible to people I share it with. So if I were to send Adam a link in an email maybe, or a direct message, I can copy and paste this in there, say, hey, will you please review this document? And I can paste this link into an email, and he can click on it and get to this test document. Here I can see Adam as a pencil, which is edit files directly. So this icon shows me his level of access to the document. I can change that right now. I could make him an owner of the document so he has full control Right now he has can edit access. I can change it to can comment, and this will bring up a comment box. So he only has the ability to make comments, which are just suggestions on edits. Or I can change it to just can view, which will change it to an eyeball. And that will allow him just to preview a document. Say if I want someone to review over and give me their opinion, or if I have a client who asked for some information, but I don't want them to edit any of the information in the document I've sent to them, you can share it with them with that level of access, and that allows for very minimal tampering with the original document while also sharing it with the people you need to share it with. You could also set an expiration from here. You could also set an expiration. If you hover over this, you can click here, and that actually sets access to the document within a certain amount of time. So by default, there's the 7 days and 30 days. You could also add a custom date. And once you select that, after 30 days, he is no longer able to view this document in this test case here. So say I now don't want Adam to have any access at all. I can go over here to the right of his name and click this X. And once I do that, I click it and I save changes. And I can see now he is no longer a part of my who has access, which means he will no longer be able to edit, comment, or view this document in any form. So if he did have a link at one point, if he tried to use that link, it would say you do not have access to this document. Please try to request permission, which you can deny or accept if you're the owner. Here you can still invite people by email address or name. Here are some owner settings, and these allow you to prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. And that's good if you give another person, say maybe outside of your organization, a client, editor privileges, so they can contribute to a document, but you don't want them to in turn allow others outside of the organization or others in general to change and add access. You can select this and it locks the document down, so you have complete control of who else can edit and who else can share and outsource your files. You could also check this box, which disables options to download, print, and copy for commenters and viewers. So if you give someone comment or view access, then this is a good option to retain your data. It doesn't allow people to make copies. They can't take your files that you show them and make copies and then re-upload it themselves, maybe from a scanner or something. This puts a lock on whatever files you are trying to allow people to see. So you have complete control of what happens with your information. And the one last thing I would like to touch on in this advanced sharing settings screen is this right here, this who has access private, only you can access. And there's a change button right here. So if I were to go ahead and add Adam back, he needs to have access again. So add Adam. I see a couple things. There's notify people. I can add a message which just emails him this additional personal message. I can click the send a copy to myself. If I would also like to get a notification that I've shared this out with somebody, I'm going to paste the item into the email so they can access it. From the email, it looked like an attachment. So I'm just going to say, nope, don't notify. I'll just tell him separately he has access to this. So Okay, now I can see he has access, and this has changed from private to specific people can access. So by that, specific people only Adam. I've only invited Adam, so he is the specific person who I've invited to have access. Now, if I go in here and change, I can see a couple different options. I can see link sharing is off. Now that's just specific people or private. This link doesn't work generally, but I can change that so I can make it on. Anyone at the domain RCN Technologies, or in your case, Cimtech, with the link can't access this. So if you would like anyone who has the link in your domain without having to invite specific people, you could add this in maybe a group chat or in a group email and have many people have access. Or if you would like it searchable to everyone, you can choose on for everyone at your domain, and they can actually search for it in their search bar and try to find that. You could also make it on for anyone with a link. So if anyone outside of your organization would like to have access, you could send this in a group email to a client, and anyone would be able to sign in, no sign in required. So they could view the document without having to sign into a Google account. That's a little bit less secure, but you can lock down the editing privileges and the not downloading and copying checkboxes to have some kind of control. This is just if you would like a lot of people outside of your domain without having to explicitly add each and every one of them. And you could change it to public on the web so anyone on the internet can find and access, no sign-in required. This is maybe helpful if you're creating a form where you want people to enter their information maybe on your website. They can type in their info and submit, and they have access to that form without having to sign in. It's a good way for you to get responses and get specific information from people without knowing everybody's email address and granting specific access for whoever's viewing that form. So I'm just going to go ahead and click out of this. This is done with this. I also want to just point out real quick before we move on, this more actions button, and this just shows a few more things. You can see these actions were also available when we right-clicked on the document. So you can access these options from here or by right-clicking on the document. Now back here in my drive, we're going to highlight the Cimtech folder. And I just want to show you that there are some ways that you can kind of associate different folders with a color scheme. Say you have certain document or certain folders that group together, and maybe they're all red type folders. You can kind of have at a quick glance, oh, I need to access my red folder. And from here, you can set by right-clicking on things, change color. And this is just like a degree of personalization that helps kind of in a fun, quirky way with these like colors tell your information apart. See, I got a blue folder down here. So it's just something that you, at a glance, you can tell what a folder is without having to read through. You can scroll right through it and see, oh, there's my red folder. I need to get into that for this specific information. Up here is your search bar for Drive. So from here, you can search different things, your files, your folders. anything that you might need. So we're going to look at test, and we see this document that we just made, and I can open it up straight from that search bar. And here is test again. I can also drop down this search options arrow, and it brings up a more advanced search. So if I'm looking for something very specific, say I'm looking for anything test, and the file type is text document, the owner maybe it's just anyone. I don't know where the location is, but I could click a specific location if I wanted to. I don't know, maybe if it's in the trash or star, but I can look there specifically if I wanted to. Check when it was modified. The item name includes the words, maybe test, or maybe if you are looking for something specific like a client name, you could put it in here. If I know maybe a person who it's shared with, I can put it in here, search by that, and then follow up if there are any comments mentioned with you in them. You can search that. It's kind of very specific, but this is just a very advanced and specific way to find documents if you're really needing to find that one file that has pertinent information for you. This is a really good way to search for it. Now, we go to My Drives and switch the layout here. Go to My Drives. You can see there are a couple different drives here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get into tech stuff. In tech stuff, I can see it's just like My Drive, but you can see where it had 3 members before. Usually every folder in a team drive is shared with multiple people, and no one is really the owner. The admin is the owner, but no one is the actual owner of a document. So there's not really a complicated who is the owner, who is a contributor, who is a view only. It's really just for internal team use and for quick sharing of documents of specificity. You specify, it's a tongue twister, specify the documents here. So anything that's technical stuff would go into this folder, and you can see from a glance what you need to, and so can your teammates. Now, here in Shared With Me, if you have something shared with you, say someone else added you onto a document and you have like edited it, it won't automatically show up in your My Drive. It'll show up here and Shared With Me, but you can add that to your My Drive. So say I just got this Shared With Me, Introduction to G Suite. If I would like to add that to my My Drive and view that here with all my other documents, I can highlight on the folder or the file, and I can go up here to the right to add to My Drive symbol, and it's just the drive symbol with a plus mark, or I can right click on it and I have the option to add to My Drive. So I'm going to click it. So it's been added to My Drive. So now if I were to go back and look at my files, this Introduction to G Suite is added to My Drive now, and I'll be able to access it from here whenever I'd like. Now, if at any time you have any questions or you're having any issues in Drive, you can go over here to kind of the top right, more over to the left, and there's a question mark next to the search bar where it says help. You can click on that, and it says help for admins just because I'm the admin on this account. But normally it would just say help, and it'll have recommended content. It would be files made by Google with common FAQ questions, common issues that you might have or questions, and you can read those if you're having issues. Say I'm having a problem with sharing things. I can type in sharing, and so it brings up a couple documents I can read: sharing files from Google Drive, sharing folders in Google Drive, sharing your calendar with someone. So these are a couple of resources I can use to help me with my issue before I reach out to someone else. So this is just kind of a good troubleshooting step. If you feel stuck and would like some help right away, this is a really good resource for you whenever you're stuck in that situation. So one more thing I would like to talk about is Google Drive file stream. And for that, I'm going to switch over to this other computer. So this other computer is a Windows computer, and Google File Stream is really good for Windows or Mac computers. So I'm going to go over to the settings icon up here at the top right. I click on that, and I can see there are settings, and there's also an option for Get Drive File Stream for Windows. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and it'll bring up this page. So it says use worker or school files on your computer with Drive File Stream. Now I've installed Drive File Stream before, so it doesn't show install, but normally if you've never used it before, you can hit install Google Drive, and it will start downloading for you, and you will be able to look up files directly on your computer. So I'm going to try to do that right now. Get Google File Stream. Okay. So normally, just because I've done this before, it is not allowing me to download it right away. But for most everyone, you will just go to settings, get Drive File Stream, and then click on the button to download it. So you start downloading it, and once it's finished, you just click it to run. And once it finishes, it'll pop up and it will prompt you to install the Google file stream. You just hit yes and install. And that check mark before was asking if I wanted to make a shortcut, and personally I did not, so I did not check it. So Google File Stream successfully installed, and close out of that. Now, Google File Stream will be running in your programs down here at the bottom right of your actual computer or in Mac, wherever your active files run in the background. So I can see here, in addition to my Bluetooth and my HP computer settings, I have Drive File Stream. And as you can see, I'm logged in already. Sometimes you might have to log in, especially if you've never downloaded it before. And you can, from here, kind of set your options. But more importantly, in order to view that Google File Stream, you go to your file on File Explorer or Finder if you're on Mac, and you go to your computer. And right here, it's mapped this Google File Stream as if it was another hard drive. So I'm going to click on it and look, and I can actually see my drive and team drives from here. I click on it, and I can see that Cimtech folder I made before, along with a bunch of other different folders and files inside of my drive. And I can see all these. These are streaming from the cloud, so none of this is actually downloaded on my computer and does not take up hard drive space, so I don't have to worry about that. But if I did want to edit a file offline, I could right-click on something. So if I want to edit this Cimtech folder and file offline, I could, from this right-click menu, go down to Drive File Stream and select Available Offline. And once I do that, I can see that the cloud icon that used to be to this side of it has changed into a green icon, meaning it is downloaded and is ready for me to work it offline. And that is the basics of Drive and the basics of Drive File Stream. I hope I was able to show you all a couple new things and was able to show you a couple of useful things at least, and hope you will be able to take this knowledge and do great things with it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great time with Google. Thank you.